Hello, everyone. My name is Vincent. I'm from the Makeover Guys. First of all, thank you for the StarProperty having me here today as a presenter to talk about something related to properties. Okay. So without further ado, let me share my screen. Well, yes. So as you can see, today the topic of my sharing is maximizing your property's potential. I'll be sharing some of the answers to the five common questions normally people ask when they are talking about property investment. Well, this slide's about my credential. So I'm the Chief Sales Officer of the Makeover Guys. At the same time, I also founded Cozy Homes, who is a property maintenance and also tenancy management company. Co-founded another company called SWS28, which is a Chinese medicine company. Some of the awards back in this past 5-6 years: SOBA Best Innovation, Sunway iLab Super Accelerator, Malaysia Book of Records, SME 100 Awards, and Sinju Young and Emerging Business Excellence. So today's buzzword is property investment. Okay. If you are new to property investment, welcome. There will be a lot of insights, knowledge, and tips for you to learn, for you to pick up. If you are veterans, if you are seasoned property investors, stay tuned as well. I think it's good that we reconnect and let's talk about property investment. All right. Well, a lot of people mentioned now we are actually entering into recession period. So is this a good time to buy property? If you talk about the principle of buy low, sell high, well, it looks like we should buy now, right? Because the price will go up eventually, and now the times are bad. But of course, there are also a lot of indicators or symptoms or even signs in the market that the recovery probably take longer than what we think. So again, to a lot of newcomer, whether or not now is the right time for them to buy in or have to wait another 2-3 years, 3-4 years for them to make that call. As for veterans, as for seasoned property investors, I think what you need to always bear in mind is how tenants change their behavior. How does property landscape changes along the way? Now, what is their top preferences? What are the tenant top preferences? What do they look out for when they are actually choosing a place to stay? So these are all the information that we have to always be very mindful when you guys are planning to buy your next property, right? So yeah, start by asking the right question. It's very important. The basics are often overlooked by a lot of property investors. So question number one, do I really know what tenants are like today? Have they changed as compared to last time and right now, these days? So back in those days, I think tenant, the top priorities to them is first price, right? Price is very important as they want the place to be affordable and the requests are not as much. Basically, they just want to have what I call the functional furniture, and that's enough. And what they will be negotiating is mainly on the price. So just bare minimum, a decent home with bare minimum will do with a nice pricing. But now, as we talk about in today's world, right, tenants are all flooded with a lot of supplies and a lot of options. So in other words, it's a buyer's market. So tenants have a lot of choices and they always prioritize their lifestyle these days. We know young people, tenants are mainly the young people, right? The young adults or young couple before they actually buy houses or home for themselves. So they are the main majority renters or tenants. They are prioritizing lifestyles and no longer just looking at prices only. They want it convenient, they want it comfortable, they want it nice, beautiful, and these are very, very common already in the market. Okay. So now, these are some of the examples that you can find it on the major listing platforms for renting. And yeah, these are what I meant by last time, those days, right? Tenants still okay, can accept. It's okay to have this kind of unit. This is one of the example as well. It's Regalia Jalan Sultan as well. Yeah, so partly furnished. So some of the example I showed just now are partly furnished. These are partly furnished. If you ask me, strictly speaking, I don't think it's fully finished. right? Functional fully furnished, this is probably the functional fully furnished. But yeah, sofa, dining table, chair, table, coffee table, the cabinetry, those things are there. So it's functional, fully furnished. But the thing is, right, like I mentioned, now tenant these days, they want their lifestyle. They are prioritizing different things as compared to the tenants in the olden days. So what they want nowadays is what I call a designer fully furnished unit. Okay, so what do I mean by designer fully furnished? These are all the examples. The example, yeah, I mean, they are still having the functional furniture. For example, like chairs, dining table, sofa, lighting, but these are no longer just functional. It has to add aesthetic values to the unit in order to attract tenants, right? Like you see, even a bedroom, it has to be in such manner in order to attract their attention. Okay, so yeah, so basically in today's world, right, when as a property investor, we want our unit to be here. We want it to be here in order to stay competitive, in order to win the competition. You know, especially now, right after MCO, there are a lot of VP projects. VP means vacant possession. Vacant possession means property purchaser finally get their keys. And it's time for them to think about how to renovate and how to rent out their unit now, right? So imagine a building of, let's say, 500 to 1,000 unit is going VP at the same time, meaning to say the competition is so stiff. You need to win the competition in order to rent out your unit fast and also at the best price. Remember, the context of today's topic is to maximize the property's potential, right? So we want it to be on top of this pyramid. Okay, remember, we want it to be always on top of this pyramid, which is the designer fully furnished unit. I mean, style. All right. Question number 2. How do I work the maths? Of course, who doesn't want to be on top of the pyramid, right? But it always comes with the price, we know everything comes with the price. There's no free lunch in the world. So make sure all the dollars and cents adds up and it makes sense, lor. How do I do this thing? I'll present 2 different cases. Actually, yeah, in all honesty, you need to do your maths before you actually make a call whether or not to do a partly furnished design, fully functional furnished design, or a designer fully furnished design. Because different property type, even different location also have different results. Yeah, so you really have to factor in all this consideration and do your own maths. So I'll use two scenario. So this one, the first one is property price 1.5 million, loan installment is about 7,500 a month. Option 1, partly furnished. So if so I will do comparison like option 1 and option 2. Option 1 is partly furnished, 6,500 rental, and the renovation costs you 18,000. The option 2 is fully furnished, the rental 8,500, meaning to say improve 2,000 ringgit from a partly furnished to fully furnished to 8,500, but the renovation cost is 70,000. It's almost like 4 or 5 times as compared to a partly furnished. So now let's just say I am going for the option 2, right? So this is a cash flow analysis, which we normally do for our client for free. So yeah, as you can see, of course, we have made a certain assumption now, like for example, the property will appreciate along the way, you know, a few percentage that we put it in for this analysis purpose, right? So by going for option 2, the positive cash flow that for this option 2 scenario 1 is 142,000 surplus. Okay, so you just basically have to look at this 142,000 right? Then a second case, this is a second example. The property price is 800,000, loan installment is about 4,000. Again, option 1 and option 2. So option 1 is partly furnished, the rental is 1,200, renovation is 40,000. Option 2 is fully furnished, the rental is 1,700, which is only increased by 500 ringgit. So partly furnished can already fetch you 1,200. So you add another renovation of 110,000, gives you another 500 increment of rental only. But the renovation is how much? 110,000 minus 40,000 is 70,000 more. So this is the second scenario. And now let's say we go for option 2, fully furnished. The same, go through the cash flow analysis. And now the analysis, right, is negative deficit of 359,000. That's why I say you need to know how to do your maths. Not every single unit you can do a designer fully furnished, right? So you must be thinking, hey, why then you're contradicting? The first part you say you must do designer fully furnished. The second part you say, hey, no, you must know how to choose in order to do designer fully furnished. That's exactly. You need to know which area, which location, which building that you can buy in that can give you designer fully furnished and comes with a very high rental rate. That's why, like I said, the context of today's topic is talking about maximizing property potential, right? So yeah, so the question is, when you buy the property, you must already start doing all this analysis before you actually buy the property. You don't buy the property, then later only decide whether or not you want to do partly, whether or not you want to do functional, fully furnished, or whether or not you want to do designer fully furnished, because that's too late. You can't change much, honestly speaking. Okay, so that's why you need to know. Then now, moving forward, right, what am I going to share with you is how to do the budgeting in terms of the renovation itself. There's a formula one. It's not simply do budget as you like, right? So rentability equals to CV plus comfort, CF. So what do I mean by CV and comfort? Actually, CV and CF. CV is actually convenience. Okay. So now this is how we do budgeting for our renovation. We split. Just now I mentioned CV and CF, right? But CV actually also can split into two parts: CV basic and CV essential. CV basics meaning to say lighting, fan, aircon, curtain, water heater, kitchen cabinet. These are all the very bare minimum. Honestly speaking, if these also you cannot provide, then I don't know I don't know who will choose your unit. I don't think there will be anyone unless for some other purposes. It's not for staying purpose, right? Because these are all very, very basic. Then the second part, the center one, is essentials. So what do I mean by essentials? Wardrobe. You must have a wardrobe, right? Storage is very important for as accommodation. Then TV cabinet TV bed, dining table, washer, sofa, dining chairs, and fridge. So this is the convenience under essentials part. Then the last part, last but not least, is comfort, the boosters, the wall design, the deco, and other appliances. So you also can see like on the bottom part, right? If you have the basics, that's where we call you a bare minimum, bare minimum. Then if let's say you provide basic and essentials, then it's considered partial furnished. If let's say you include all these things, right, including the boosters, right, then this is a fully furnished, and I will say it's a designer fully furnished because you have wall design and deco, right? So the next 3-4 slides, right, I will show you what are the bad spending. Okay, so for example, this case, right, okay, this fella already provide you, invested in all the basics item, okay, but for essential part, the wardrobe, right, the property investor spend a lot of money on the wardrobe because storage, you say storage is very important for a person to stay in, right? Then spend a lot on the wardrobe, but the thing is, because the budget is so limited, right, then the rest are all foregone already. Meaning to say, no more money, no more budget to build the TV cabinet, dining table, chair, bed, and sofa, whatnot, right? So these are all empty. Then spend on the wall design, decor, and other appliances. Honestly, I don't think tenant will choose this unit because essentials, meaning to say it's very important, still essentials. You rather spend the money on the booster, but you skip the part on the essentials, so it's not making sense. Another bad spending is you spend your money on the basic, okay, then essential, you skip. Then you straight away going to do plaster ceiling. Plaster ceiling, honestly speaking, in tenant's eye, plaster ceiling don't add any value one. You don't tell people, I tell you this. It's plaster ceiling normally only gives more value to own stay. You want to make it nicer, you want to hide all the wiring and stuff, right? To renter, to tenants, they don't really give values to plaster ceiling. Same thing goes to wet kitchen. Okay, so wet kitchen, because when you talk about wet kitchen, right, a lot of hacking, a lot of maybe retoweling and stuff like that, right? It's going to be very expensive. So you see, this example is they spend a lot of money on the kitchen cabinet, make it very big, very nice, but they skip entirely on the essentials again. then they spend on wet kitchen. Again, honestly, I don't think tenant will choose your unit lah, because the essentials are all missing. In fact, for this example, right, the basics are not even full basic. Okay. So yeah, so this is the summary of what I mentioned, the basic, boosters, and essentials. This is a form that normally we use for our client. You can write in the amount of money, the budget that you want to spend for each item. Then you can see at the bottom, all right, at the bottom, if let's say your budget is really very limited, right, and you want it all eventually, then you have to plan in that manner, meaning to say basic is always the most important, followed by essentials. Then if let's say along the way time passes, you got more money, you got more budget, right, then only you spend on the last part, which is the comfort lah. All right, so yeah, I mean, this is the budgeting, this is the form that you can actually utilize for your own planning. Yeah, this is just some of the examples. Yeah, the essentials and basics examples lah. Those colored in yellow. These are coffee table, TV wardrobe, sofa, dining table, designer chairs, bed, wardrobe, dressing chair, bedside table, yeah, and cabinetry in the kitchen. All right. Okay. Well, I guess you guys are enjoying so far. Number three, what is the number three question that normally people ask? So how do I plan my space? Okay, so yeah, I think you must have at least some of the fundamental knowledge when you're talking about renovation, right? Be it you want to do it yourself, you want to utilize a contractor, engage a contractors or ID, or even a third party, right? You need to have some fundamental knowledge lah. If not, you also don't know what people are actually quoting you, or you don't know where to start if you want to do it yourself, and you're probably going to commit to a lot of mistakes and waste time, waste money, sometimes even ruin relationship if you are doing this together with your spouse or with a partner, right? So how do I plan my space? Tip number one, I'll be sharing 5 tips now, okay? So tip number one, your walls add character. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so the wall itself is the biggest area of a house, right? So I mean, you can add a lot of things to add a lot of values to your house by decorating or making it nice. The walls making it nice, okay? So this is one of the example. The black color is actually wainscoting. Well, some of the painting you can see on the top, right? Those are texture painting. Okay, so this is another example. We are using wallpaper. This example is wallpaper. It's just wallpaper, but different types of wallpaper. We even cover on the wallpaper on the ceiling part. Wallpaper as well. All right. So you see, by doing this kind of wallpaper and painting or some decoration, right, it adds a lot of character to your unit, and it stands out in terms of the competition. You want to win. Remember, you always want to win. You want to maximize the potential, and you want to win the competition to rent out your unit. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess you would say nice, right? I mean, if let's say you are right now listening to me and you are actually a tenant looking for a house, you probably will want to consider this as well. Of course, if the price is right. Yeah. Examples. This is what I mean by adding character to your unit, by making full use of the wall. Okay, tips number 2, keep your curtains simple and tall. So what do I mean by that? Try not to use floral. I mean, yeah, we spend so much money to buy the house, we spend so much money to renovate the unit. Don't use the floral type. It's not really very attractive. Okay, I think the word is not attractive. Then glossy. Well, I'm not saying that you can't use glossy, but it's quite difficult for you to match, and it's not easy to handle glossy items, glossy kind of material. So try to avoid. Okay, and the last one covered by my my face really. is miniskirt. So what do I mean by miniskirt? Meaning to say it's too short. It's best to have full length. Like for example, the middle one, full length will be the nicest. Okay, you don't want to have the miniskirts. And examples. Yeah, so these are all the examples. There's no floral, there's no glossy, full height, there's no miniskirts, as you can see from the photos. Full height, no glossy, no floral. It's just one color. Yeah, simple and nice. Simple and nice, one color, full height. Okay. Tips number 3, go easy on the colors. Now, I think the golden ratio, okay, before I talk about golden ratio, so when you are planning for your house, right, you of course want to have you choose a series of colors for your home renovation, right? You don't want to really add rainbow colors to your house, right? You know it's not going to look nice, correct? So I think the golden ratio is always use a 60-30-10 kind of ratio. So what do I mean by 60-30-10? 60% means the primary color. So choose one primary color for your house renovation, followed by a 30% of secondary color, and 10% is what I call a highlight color. Yeah, in theory it's like that. Of course, I'm going to show you some example. So yeah, so this is good example. The white is the primary color, brown is secondary color, and orange is the highlight color. Okay, same goes to this. The wooden color, it's the primary, white is secondary, and the black obviously is the highlight. So you only choose 3 colors to play around rather than all sorts of rainbow color. It's going to make your house look very messy, and I don't think it's very appealing, honestly. Yeah, this is also an example. Grayish white is the primary, the wooden secondary, and the last but not least is the black being the highlight. Okay, so I'm not talking about the wall also. The entire house, the entire matching of house in terms of furniture, appliances, wall, your kitchen island, cabinetry, right? It's always revolving around these 3 colors. So yeah, the example that I showed earlier, 3 colors. This is also three different colors. Primary, secondary, and highlight. Which is the highlight? Highlight is the golden, brownish, brown, golden is the highlight. The gray is the primary, and the blue, turquoise blue, it's secondary. Okay, same goes to this. Yeah, 90% of the design failed due to wrong color planning. So it's very, very important, because once you come in, right, the biggest area footage of the entire house is the wall and the floor. Okay. Tips number 4, use lighting to your advantage. So yeah, I think these days we have a lot of different lighting. We have designer lighting, we have downlight, track light, we have stand light, right? These are all very unique and very designer, right? Designer kind of feel. So you need to know how to utilize all these lights to add values to your unit. Now, so these are bedside lamp, right? These are downlight. It looks so much better, so much nicer if you know how to play around with the lighting. And tips number 5 is decorate. We know a lot of tenants when it comes to choosing houses, right? It's very impulsive one. 80% of the buyer of the tenant, right? I mean, the buying decision comes from emotion. You have to agree with me on this, right? Yeah, although most of the time we always talk about logic, meaning to say, oh, we have to analyze whether this place is good or not, this and that. But end of the day, right, if someone walks into the house and, wow, it's so nice, right? The impulsive neuron chemistry will tell you that, oh, I think this is the one. So yeah, 80% of the time people buy based on emotion and impulsive. Would you rather choose this or this? Or this? Or this? Or even this and this? Right? So like I say, you see all these photos, right? I'm pretty sure it makes you, it's appealing to you, and it gives you a signal that, hey, you probably want to consider renting this house, as compared to the first photo that I show you, which is this, right? Okay. So yeah. So what are your options actually? You have to know the pros and cons. So what do I mean by options? How do you want to do the renovation? Do you want to do it yourself? Do you want to hire an ID? You want to do a contractor, or you want to engage with third party like the makeover guys? So let me go through with you what are the differences. In terms of time investment, do it yourself obviously is the most. You need to learn everything by yourself. You need to have the knowledge. Then you have to do a lot of research. You need to go to a lot of home deck, go to different vendors, different shops to source for all the items yourself. Then as compared to hiring an ID, they will plan everything for you. But every single decision they make, before they make, right, they will ask for your input. They want to understand your lifestyle. So end of the day, right, you're still making a lot of decisions. It's just that they will guide you to make decisions. Or another solution provider like the makeover guys, right, is we have a lot of design options. It's already everything packed, predetermined. So basically, you just have to tell them that what kind of themes, what kind of package that you like, right? Then a lot of decision making can be very easy and fast because everything is predetermined. Number two, risk of things going wrong. Like I say, do it yourself. You need to have a lot of knowledge, experience. You will easily commit mistakes without you noticing. For example, if you forget to measure the living hall and go and commit a sofa, right? Then after that, your sofa cannot fit in. You have to find a buyer for your sofa. Then hiring an ID and, for example, other property solution company like the makeover guys are lesser, way lesser because we are so experienced. We know what we are doing, right? Certainty of rentability, do it yourself. Well, again, like I say, maybe lack of knowledge, lack of experience. You don't know how to rent, how to market your place, even after renovating. But as compared to hiring an ID and solution provider like makeover guys, we are very experienced. We know what are the channels to rent out the unit. We have panel agents that work with us. Then the fourth point is ease of after makeover management. Again, you are all by yourself if you are DIY. If it's ID, if it's the makeover guys, we have a lot of solution partners. We have even warranty, we have after sales services, maintenance, we have even insurance. All these things are to make sure that you have peace of mind. All right. And cost, do it yourself can be cheap, of course, because you source everything by yourself. As opposed to hiring an ID can be very expensive and it really differ from one to another. It depends on their experience. It depends on their branding. How famous are they? How big is their team? And last but not least, property solution company like the makeover guys, the cost is definitely in between do it yourself and hiring an ID. Actually, sometimes do it yourself can be way more expensive than the other two. You know why? Because a lot of mistakes. Then you commit already, then waste then you have to incur more cost. Okay. So yeah, 2 points. Number one, spend wisely for quality and reliable services. When you want to do it yourself, you want to hire any ID contractor or solution providers, right? You have to spend wisely. You have to really check the quality and how reliable is their services. And number two, speed is key. You don't want to waste too much time on renovation. Every single downtime is $1 wasted because you have to pay your installment, very expensive, right? Okay, last but not least, the last question. So who do I engage? The best choice for property investors, the makeover guys. Okay, of course, you can choose other property solutions company, but what I'm trying to say here is we are a solution company for property players and homeowners. So the most important thing is to look for this sort of property solutions company in the market because they are so experienced, they have the knowledge, they have the people, they have the team, they are well prepared, they know what to do. Of course, at the certain fees, but you have very minimum worries and troubles. As compared to do it yourself. So like I said just now, the two main points, you need to spend your money wisely. You need to know how good is their service, how reliable are they, and the speed, the response time with all these solution provider. You need to always be in touch with them and make sure they always respond to your status update. Okay, so the makeover guys group, we have pre-makeover phase. Pre-makeover, makeover, and after sales. Pre-makeover, we have Yi-Heng. Yi-Heng is our influencer. He's a content creator in YouTube. I'm pretty sure a lot of you, especially the seasoned property investor, you guys know who Sean Tan is, right? For newcomer, welcome to. Let me introduce Yi-Heng to you. He's a YouTube content creator. He talks a lot about property investment. he have already reviewed more than 200, almost 300 property in different building in Malaysia, and he's very famous of doing that. Okay. Makeover, we have our makeover guys, property rental strategy and makeover, meaning to say the makeover guys is the entity doing rental investment rental unit, and Easy Home is for own stay lah. Affordable designer homes for own stay. We also do own stay unit. Okay, we have Makeover Plus to serve the developer. Of course, we have collaboration with Huga and the Makeover guys. You can find our shop in Mid Valley. We have Groundwork, it's an ID firm, top of the line. And after sales service, we have Cozy Homes, which is a one-stop property and tenant management services. We do property maintenance, we do tenancy management. Okay, the reason why I'm explaining this is because, like I mentioned, you need to find a property solution company like us if you do want to engage the makeover guys, yep, that provide all sorts of services under the same roof lah. Well, some of the stats about us: we have completed 6,500 units from day one since 2015. Yeah, and we are 200 team size in 4 places. We are very active. Our main fort is in Klang Valley. Then we have Johor Bahru, we have Kuching and Kota Kinabalu. Well, these are some of the traction and followers that we have on social media. Almost 200,000 in Facebook, about 55,000 in YouTube, mainly from Yiheng. And yeah, these are some of the brand names, the developer that we work with for the past 7-8 years. And these are all the brands that we work with for appliances, even like painting, telecommunication company, sofas, curtains, beddings. All right, that's it. So thank you for joining me today. Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening to me. I hope you have some learning, you have some takeaway, insight, and it equip you to make a better decision moving forward, whether or not you want to buy your first property or you want to continue buying properties for the seasoned property investors. All right. Thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you, guys. Bye.